Hello everyone, I'm Vincent Paul Tipait and my partner's name is JB Rivero. Today we are going to report on the commonly enjoyed dessert wine from Portugal, which is the port wine. So what is port wines? Port wine is also known as Vinho de Porto. It is a sweet, red and fortified wine from Portugal often served with dessert that made with aromatic grape varieties, primarily Touriga Franca, Touriga Nacional, Tinta Baruca, Tinto Cow, and Tinto Roriz, also known as Tempranillo. So, port wine is a sweet, red, and fortified wine from Portugal. With its aromatic grape variety, it is best known as commonly enjoyed dessert wine. Let's learn more about the port wine. Port wine was originating in Oporto town, Douro region of northern Portugal. In terms of sweetness, this wine can be very sweet, semi-dry, or dry. It is the winemaker who determines just how sweet a port wine will be according to when it interrupts the fermentation. Because port wine is fortified, so it has a higher alcohol content. It's over 15% and closer to 20% ABV or alcohol volume. Port wine is full-bodied, it has a high tannin level and its acidity level is medium to high. Port wine's primary flavors are raspberry, blackberry, caramel, cinnamon, and chocolate. As you can see, based on its primary flavors, we can conclude that port wine is actually a sweet wine. How is port wine made? As with all winemaking, port production begins as the grapes are harvested. The grapes are pressed to extract the juice and begin the fermentation process. If the winemaker fortifies the wine before fermentation is finished, the result is more residual sugar that creates a sweet wine. By contrast, if the winemaker adds the spirit after the fermentation process is complete, the result is a dry fortified wine with less sugar. Oftentimes, young port wines are aged in large oak barrels for about 18 months. That said, some port producers bypass the oak cask and let the wine age in the bottle. Depending on different factors, you can end up with a sweet and complex port wine or a drier and brighter variety. Now let's move on to the different port styles. These are white port, tawny port, ruby port, vintage port, and late bottled vintage port. White port is crafted from a field blend of indigenous white grapes that includes the likes of Codiga, Malvasia fina, Isganacao, Govio, Rabigato, and Verdilhu. White port shines as a refreshing fortified wine that typically carries 18 to 20% alcohol. Port color is golden, amber, and sometimes carrying pinker hues. Flavor is expect citrus and stone fruit to carry over into the glass, and port's trademark nutty, raisin, and spice influence will surface front and center. Honeyed character reveals a rich, smooth texture that is most often made in a dry to off-dry and occasionally sweet format. And the serving tips: must don't decant while port is ready to pour as soon as the bottle is open. Serve slightly chilled, ideally 45 to 50 degrees Fahrenheit.
So this report is thus the continuation of the report by Vincent Paul Tipait, which was the kinds of port wines. So the tawny port. Tawny ports aren't nearly as fresh and fruity as the ruby port. So kaning ruby port is part Japanese of port wines, but we will tackle it after aning tawny port. So it's rich, smooth lines and support the yummy oxidized flavor properties of age-designated bottles. So the color, pale, brown to golden, while tawny in color. So the flavor, the wines has a nutty caramelized character. So when you say nutty is kanang aroma gani sa wines that often delivers buttered toffee and smoky vanilla themes in tandem with blackberry, ripe cherry, and creamy barley alongside dried orange, sweet figs, and mocha notes, with some age-designated bottles carrying the unmistakable aromas of spiced candied pecans or sticky toffee pudding, or a classic English dish. So the serving tips: tawny ports have an age designation of the level 10, 20, 30 or more years. which indicates the average year of the grapes in the bottle. So not the vintage age of the fruit harvest. Because of innate oxidation, they can easily last a month once opened. Store in fridge, serve cool around 55 or 60 Fahrenheit. So the Ruby Port. Ruby Ports are generally the less expensive of the port wines available on the shelf, typically aged in large oak casks for an average of 2 years. Ruby Ports are ready to drink as soon as they're bottled. So the color is ruby red. So flavor. A remarkable medley of ripe of red and blackberry flavors with plums and dates exhibiting some concentration and deep. Fresh face and youthful, Ruby Port is delivers lip-smacking sweetness with subtle tannin. So the serving tips. Ruby Port is intended to be consumed young and promises to dazzle with fresh, happy primary fruit on both the nose and palate. Serve slightly chilled around 55 or to 65 Fahrenheit. The bottle should feel cool to the touch. Ruby Port will keep for several weeks after opening if it is stored in the fridge. So the vintage port. The creme de la creme of port offerings vintage port is made with top quality grapes selected from a single vintage. When it comes to this coveted trait, quality can cause some serious cash as bottles range from affordable to $30 to well over $200 depending on the producer and vintage. So the color, dark purple to ruby red. There's a theme here, like kanang nasa picture. Flavor, full-bodied semi-sweet to notable sweet with concentrated blackberry, black cherry, and ripe raspberry alongside warm pumpkin pie spice, chocolate, and coffee with fig and smoky nonsense. So the serving tips. Vintage ports are Ruby Ports built for bottle aging. These wines have a short maturity times 18 to 36 months, around mga 2 years kapin. Before bottling and forgo anything finding or filtration, serve at a cellar temperature around 65 Fahrenheit. So the late bottled vintage port or LVV port is developed from a single vintage Ruby Port and may enjoy up to 6 years in the barrel before being bottled and released. So mo ginatawag siya late bottle vintage port kay naran sila similarity sa katong Ruby Port, but ang katong Ruby Port kay murag i-stack ra siya sa barrel gani o ginatawag na tog oak barrel sa mga wines, i-stack rag mga 2 years niya. Ang kaning late bottle vintage port kay mga unom ka tuig, so mura nila mga difference. So nganong gi-stack man mga unom ka or mga unom ka tuig sa barrel kay para mo-add siya mga extra flavors gani or maka-contribute sa richest texture mo na siya. Then the flavor, LBV are sweet in style with moderate acidity and tighter tannins. Expect black currants, cherry, chocolate, and yummy influence to grab your attention with every sip. Dried fruits flavors mingle with an earthy and literary aspect, leading into plural themes and ending on an almond mints, walnut, and backdrop. So the serving tips. LVV is ready to be enjoyed as soon as you can open the bottle. Serve slightly chilled for 55 to 65 Fahrenheit. LVV ports are capable of keeping for a few weeks after opening if kept refrigerated. So what makes port unique? The most important qualities of true ports is the unique blend of Portuguese indigenous grapes. So mo din gitawag sila port wines. Gikan is Portuguese mga Portugal to sa South Europe. So port grapes includes Touriga Franca, Touriga Nacional, Tinta Roriz, aka Tempranillo, Tinta Barroca, and Tinta Cao, and there are said to be at least 52 varieties. Each grape adds a unique flavor to the blend. So for example, Touriga Nacional adds blueberry and vanilla notes, and Touriga Franca adds raspberry and cinnamon notes. So that's all our report.